About a week and a half ago, I had a dream where I was trying to buy food for a bunch of people, and in the counter there was just like half of a sandwich with bugs kind of crawling away with the crumbs of it. And what was even stranger is that during that dream, I actually woke up and believed that my friend had written me for some reason to say that they were going to be late making dinner, which was kind of food related as well. And I just had that feeling. And when I checked my phone right after waking up from this dream, they had actually texted to say they had overslept and were going to be late making dinner. So I wanted to share that video, and I did. And I'll put a link down to the original video down below. But that was about a week and a half ago. And at the time, I had just been to the store the day before. Things were normal. So this dream kind of came out of left field. And I shared it with you guys just to kind of see what your take was on it, and just to kind of try to figure it out. As I prayed through it, I was seeing something as it being kind of like where we were going to have trouble with food. So it was all kind of unclear to me until just the other day, when I've heard that people are making these rushes on the food stores, and not necessarily a famine, but for to see store shelves barren and empty. It's something I didn't imagine. So I have to think that the dream was given to me for some reason, and I'm glad that I was able to share it with you guys and just get other people's opinion on it. And I felt led to share it. Anyways, I've had another dream that I want to share with you guys, and I would also like to get your feedback on that. As far as coronavirus, I don't really know what to make of it. A lot of this still seems very overblown to me, and I feel like there's a big overreaction through the media, which is scaring people and propelling them to do things they might not normally do. This morning I went to the store. I didn't have a lot of food on hand, so as I started seeing these shelves, on social media or on the news, I watched a little bit of news. When I started seeing shelves that were barren, it's kind of like, wow, what do we do in that case? And I knew that ultimately God would provide and I'd be okay, but it was still a little like, not used to seeing that. And today, going to the store, I did have to pick up some items. So going to the store and seeing lines outside of the store, and finding like off the beaten path little stores, like just a separate meat market to get my meat, a little separate grocery outlet store that not many people know about to get other items I needed, was kind of crazy. And even going in those places, I drink bottled water, distilled water, and that was nowhere to be found. So whether it's being overplayed or not, people are still having a panic reaction. And to anybody that's watching this video, I understand that the people are afraid and nervous, but at the same time, first off, if you're a Christian, we definitely should not be afraid. We weren't given a spirit of fear, and we should definitely be trying to help people. And second, if there's people that need to buy food daily because of paychecks or whatever, they're living paycheck to paycheck and might not be able to stock up, by hoarding food and us taking food, not me personally, but anybody that is, like, I can understand your fear, but at the same time, you're taking food away from people that might need to get that on a daily or weekly basis, where you're stocking up a month in advance. It's one thing if you'd prepared beforehand, but if you're taking now from what this is our normal, people don't know where to go to get the food. It's the grocery store. That's one location where they know to get it. And if you're taking it all to your home, even if you're willing to share, they're not going to know where to find you. So I think it's important that everybody do calm down. I know that my YouTube channel here doesn't have a ton of influence, but just I wanted to get that word out to anybody that does watch and that's thinking about making a run on the grocery stores, because that definitely needs to calm down. One thing that's been a little weird is a bunch of things, like I'm pretty much a self-quarantiner. I'm an introvert, so I don't get out much, and I enjoy it that way. And so this isn't that big of a deal, but just listening to traffic, I go out in the evening, and I live in a decent-sized town with like 130,000 people outside of Los Angeles. And going outside at night, it's eerie because you hear no traffic. It's very rare that you hear traffic driving by, and I'm so used to the sound of traffic. It's rare because my street is usually really busy, not many cars. And as I look up the street, it's almost like Thanksgiving, like those holidays where everybody's off and cars are in the driveway. It's just looking like that up and down the street. And it's wild to think about that a lot of people now are working from home, that schools are closed, that some people are having a hard time with a job in general. I spoke to somebody at the store today, and her husband's an event planner. And so obviously with these big group events being canceled, he's out of work right now. He's having to find other means to support his family and to provide. So yeah, very scary times, but at the same time, as a Christian, we're called not to be afraid. My church closed down. We're no longer having meetings as group. I actually did online church, which I'd done before. But at the same time, watching worship and not hearing a crowd response to the worship, or hearing the pastor speak and give his sermon and not having that usual, it was very different. I partake in communion, and I found my own juice and bread to partake of it here at home. It's very different, and I can understand there being panic, but at the same time, like, we have to slow down. We have to trust in the Lord, and realize that no plague will come to us, as in Psalms it says, and also try to help others as we're going through this. But I want to get to this dream because the dream might have further out, implications. I'm not sure. I know the last dream, I'm very happy I shared that. So I want to share this one. Nothing crazy happened after the dream where I had like this, wow, like my friend had texted and said she was going to be late for dinner. But at the same time, it was related to that. And I don't dream often. I dream very little. The last dream I remember was the one a week and a half ago. But before that, I don't even remember. So it's been a while. And so to have a dream and then to have it be related to this as well is interesting. And I don't watch a ton of news. I have lately. I've been watching a little news. I've really tried to stay away from it just because of how I see that it's causing a lot of anxiety for people. I don't want to be one of them. I'd rather kind of stay out of that. I need to have some knowledge, of course, but at the same time, I don't want too much. But in the dream, what happened was I was outside of McDonald's, and first thing I remember is I kind of remember National Guard. Like I remember seeing National Guard, like men in uniform out, and I remember thinking in the dream that it was a war. And I asked somebody beside me what's going on, and they're like, well, they called in the National Guard. And this isn't too wild to think of because, I mean, we could be, if people keep making runs on the grocery store, they could eventually need to bring out the National Guard to help supply food to people. So that wasn't too much of a stretch in the dream. But the part that was weird was I went to McDonald's, and I guess I bought a hamburger. And I remember looking at it, and again, in this dream, it's a food dream again. I remember looking at the food, opening up the top of the hamburger bun, and looking in, and it looking just like plastic, like those little toys you get with the fake hamburger and the fake pickles that go on it. It was just plastic, like obvious plastic. And that's not a far stretch from McDonald's. If you've eaten there, you know that you're probably eating, 30% food. There's not much to it. It's really a lot of other fillers and things that probably shouldn't be consumed. Not that they don't make it taste good, but at the same time, probably things we shouldn't consume. So that's not a huge stretch from that, but just to think, like, what is this? So I remember thinking, like, what is this? What is this food? And I've tried to this dream was yesterday. I've kind of tried to wrap my head around it. I've been praying to try to figure out what that dream might be. And I'm not sure. Is it meaning that we're going to be eating non-edible items? Is it just a wacky dream and it doesn't mean anything? I have to give it some stock, and just because of the dream recently that did seem to come to fruition. So I don't know what it means, but it was plastic hamburger. And I woke up shortly thereafter. I saw a person that I've never met in real life in the dream that's on Instagram that I don't even really haven't talked to, more than maybe a couple of messages here and there, but don't know them. So that was strange. But at the same time, I think the key point seems to be National Guard and seems to be the plastic food. So I would love to get any advice from you guys or any ideas, dream interpretations, etc., of what that might mean, what it could mean. And I kind of like to speculate on these things and just think like, what are the possibilities here? And I've been doing that, but I wanted to include you guys along on that little journey down, guessing what it might be and what it might mean. In the meantime, guys, if you're a Christian, you know what we're called to do. We're called to help others. We're called to be faithful. We're called to be in prayer. And that's what I've been trying to do, is to pray for others, to make sure that I am a good neighbor to people. We're always supposed to be kind. We're supposed to be giving. If we have food and somebody needs it, definitely give that to them. Whatever you might have that you can give to share, God will bless you for it. And that's just the trust in God, knowing that whatever you might share to somebody else, God will give that back to you. He'll take care of you. He provides everything that we have already. So if you have something and you give it to somebody and go, well, that's my last bottle of water, don't worry. He'll find a way to bless you and make sure you're okay. And it's through His will. And His will is for us to be cheerful givers, to help others, and to do all we can. I don't have a ton here, unfortunately, because of financial situations. So if you could please donate to a brother in need, I'll place a link below, and I would really appreciate that. That'll really help me out. I'm very worried about finances lately. I haven't been able to work with the guys I usually work with, and I have no means to get the things I need to survive. So if you feel so led, please consider donating down below so that I can take care of some basic needs beyond food at this point. But I know things are tight for everybody. So just please continue to pray. Please continue to be helpful to others. Please continue to assuage your anxiety by knowing that God is in control and that He will make sure that we're okay. He is the one that is sovereign in this world, and He'll make sure that everything's cool for us. So fear not, my brothers and sisters. We're going to be good, and God will see it through. We only have to worry about His will. If we worry and concern ourselves with what His will is and having that be done, then He will make sure to make our path straight and to keep us good. So that's all for this time, guys. Love to hear your dreams, dream interpretations below. And until next time, guys, please be safe and please be helpful, and God bless.